Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today's video we're going to be making this absolutely delicious stir-fried beef in a black pepper sauce. There is a few ingredients that go into making this, but most of them are really easy to get hold of, and when you put it together the flavour is absolutely delicious. So what we're going to be using today then, so I've got a nice big rump steak here from my butcher's. I've got some corn flour. I've got some freshly cracked black pepper. I've used a pestle and mortar for this. I'd probably highly recommend that. Got some light soy sauce. Got some sesame oil, some oyster sauce. I've got some cooking rice wine, some dark soy sauce, something to mix it all together. Then the veggies, I'm using 1 carrot. I've got 1 red bell pepper, 1 white onion, 2 spring onions or green onions, 2 cloves of garlic, and a piece of ginger the size of my thumb. So the first thing we want to do is remove the fat from the beef. Now if we were doing this as just a normal steak, obviously that's one of the best parts of it, but because it's going into the recipe it won't render down and it'll be really tough and chewy, so we're going to remove the fat from the steak. Now when I do this recipe I like to have my beef cut into quite chunky pieces. Traditionally it would be cut really thin and then slammed down and like tenderised so that it goes really thin, but I like to keep it nice and chunky because I like to see the meat in there. So once we've got all our beef chopped up, we're just going to pop that aside to a bowl, and then what we want to do is marinate it. So we're going to marinate this for a couple of hours, really simple marinade. We're going to want to get about 2 or 3 teaspoons of that cracked black pepper. And then about a tablespoon of soy sauce goes in there. Like I say, all we're going to do is just leave that to marinate, get your fingers in there, don't be afraid, but we're just going to leave this to marinate for at least an hour, probably 3-4 hours would be best. So once the beef is done, we're going to leave that to marinate, we're going to make the sauce. So I use a tablespoon of corn flour. Then I'm going to use 3 tablespoons of light soy sauce. Now before you add any further ingredients in, really important at this stage just to give that little mix together. That way all the corn flour gets absorbed in and there's no lumps of corn flour. Add about a teaspoon of that sesame oil. And then I'm going to go for 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce. This is a good quality oyster sauce. And then I'm going to use a very generous tablespoon of this rice wine. I got this from a supermarket, but you can get it from most Asian supermarkets. It's a Shaoxing rice wine. And then you just want to add a dash of dark soy sauce. And once you've added that, you'll see the colour will completely change in the sauce. So once we've got everything ready to go, your beef's marinated and your sauce is made, it's time to get everything cooking. So I always use a wok. Whenever using any ingredients like this, it's always best to use a wok. As you can see, it's well used, this one. I use it for all my recipes. So once your wok is red hot, add about a tablespoon of vegetable oil. Don't use olive oil, it's got to be a high temperature oil. Then we're going to add in the beef. Now make sure you add the beef away from you because it will sizzle up. You don't want to get yourself burned. We're just going to fry this off for a couple of minutes. Don't overcook your beef at this point. By the time I take the beef out, it's still raw in the middle, but it's beautifully seared on the outside. So the reason we leave it slightly uncooked is obviously we're going to add it back in later on, and we don't want the beef to be tough and overcooked. So that's a beautiful rare at the moment. Once we've removed all the beef from the pan, now don't tip the oil away, keep the oil because it's still got loads of bits of beautiful pepper and everything in there. We're just going to add in all our veggies, add them all at the same time. And we're just going to cook this off for about 2 to 3 minutes. You'll see that the pan will start to get really dry because you only had a little bit of oil in there. So rather than adding more oil to it and ruining the recipe, what you want to do is just add a little dash of water, just like a 1/4 cup. What that'll do is help steam the vegetables and it will cook the vegetables through. So again, we're just going to cook this. Probably takes about 6 to 7 minutes in total, but all you want to do is just cook it until the onion and carrot is completely soft. And then we're going to add 2 more teaspoons of that black pepper. Now it's going to seem like a lot of black pepper, but obviously it is a black pepper beef recipe, so that's kind of the idea. You also don't need to add any chilli to this recipe because the black pepper will give it a nice heat coming through. So fry that off for a couple more minutes. Like I say, as soon as your vegetables are soft, you're just going to add your beef back in again. Juices and all. And then you just want to add that sauce. Now I like mine to be really thick and goopy. If you do find it a little bit too thick, just add a little bit more water, and then that way you'll end up with more sauce and it won't be quite as thick. Look at that, that's absolutely delicious. Honestly guys, this recipe is absolutely fantastic. You'll really love it, you've got to give it a try. I just serve this up with some boiled rice. I always find with recipes like this that sushi rice is always best, so that's what I use, but you can use any rice will do. Or indeed you could even serve it with some noodles. But anyway guys, that's today's recipe. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to subscribe to become part of the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.